Do you consider yourself a high achiever? Smart, driven, highly successful? I am so excited to have you. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm the host of the Stress Podcast. I will help you develop your stress resilience the same way you've developed your workplace superpowers. Learn peak performance tools to thrive at work and in your personal life. Let's get started. If you are constantly struggling with your energy levels at work, then today's video is for you, because I received a lot of different really great questions from you on how to better manage your energy levels during your workday. And I want to answer 5 questions today in order to help you really get into the groove of things and feel more productive and more energized throughout your workday. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Julia Arndt and I'm a peak performance coach and stress management trainer. And I'm very excited about this kind of video format because I have received many questions from you on how to be more productive and energized during the workday. And I want to answer a couple of specific questions for you today in order to help you be better at managing your energy. So let's jump into the first question. Question number 1. How do you deal with having so much daily minutia work to do that it's hard to balance that on top of the full-time projects and tasks you have on your plate? Really great question. How do you manage these little quick tasks that you have to do on a day-to-day basis versus kind of these bigger projects or tasks that you also equally have to get done, but sometimes are hard to do, especially when you're feeling like you're constantly distracted, you're constantly moving from one meeting to the next, you have a full inbox and you're just being constantly distracted. To answer this question, I always really like to refer to my good friend Sahar Youssef from the University of Berkeley. And she is teaching a course there called Becoming Superhuman. If you are curious to learn more about her, make sure to check out the podcast episode that I recorded with her for my podcast. You can check it out here. And Sahar basically differentiates between MITs and LITs, so least important tasks and most important tasks of the day. And the way of how she describes it, which I find super helpful, is that we are all driven by a biochemical called dopamine. And as we all know, dopamine is a great feeling. It makes us feel accomplished and happy in a really quick way. And so every time you're going into answering an email or answering a chat in Slack or Ping, or if you are going into a meeting or you are answering an email, I think I already said answering an email, but anyway, well, every time you're doing that, you are getting a quick rush of dopamine and it makes you feel good about yourself, which is wonderful, right? We all want to feel good about ourselves on a day-to-day basis. And so we're doing a lot of these things, unfortunately, and oftentimes forget about these bigger projects. So it is really important to find a balance between those least important tasks and the most important tasks. And the way of how I would recommend you to do this is, number 1, always create a list of priorities. On that list of priorities should really only be 2 things or maybe maximum 3 things per day that you really feel like you need to get done in order to feel accomplished at the end of the day. And also to really hold you accountable that you need to get these things done, right? Because oftentimes when we are not really clear on our priorities, do we get really quickly distracted to these least important tasks where we're getting all these dopamine little mini rushes, but it doesn't really help us to feel accomplished during the day or at the end of the workday. So that is super important for your own well-being and for your own feeling of accomplishment at the end of the day. So again, if you are struggling between doing so many different tasks during the day and having to focus on one specific thing, then really create that accountability with yourself by writing that priority down. Write that 1 or 2 or 3 priorities down for the day. And make sure that you're really sticking to that list. And it will also hold you accountable when people are trying to get your attention, right? So if you are seeing an email or if you're seeing a last-minute meeting invite, then you can ask yourself the question, do I really need to do this right now? Or should I actually focus on that priority? What is more important, right? And how much better will I feel about myself if I do one or the other? So that is what I would say about that specific question. The second question that I received is a really good one as well, which is, what are some self-care ideas to relieve and manage stress during the workday? Really good question, because you should absolutely practice self-care on a day-to-day basis. Oftentimes when we think about self-care or managing our stress levels and energy levels, is that we think, ooh, but I need like 3 hours for this, or I need like a day for this, or I need to take a vacation, right, in order to manage my stress and energy levels. But you actually don't need as much of that if you are managing your energy on a day-to-day basis. And this is something that we oftentimes forget. You need to practice self-care. You need to take breaks every single day of the week. The more you work, the more breaks you should take in order to help your system regulate stress hormones. And the interesting thing is that when you are in that stress or energy giving state, you are actually operating in your sympathetic nervous system. And in order to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, so the counterpart to the sympathetic nervous system, you only require 90 seconds. 90 seconds, that's all you need, super, super quick. But it really helps you to move from a state of tension to a state of relaxation. And so 90 seconds can be super simple. You can close your eyes, take a deep breath. So taking a deep breath, super simple exercise. And you saw what I did there as well, right? I closed my eyes, because through our eyes, we're taking in about 80% of sensory information. And as soon as you close your eyes, you are shutting everything down. And that can be super, super helpful, especially when you are having a super busy day at work and you're feeling overwhelmed. So taking a few deep breaths really helps you to get from tension to relaxation. But there's obviously a million different things that you can do. But I want to share with you a couple of my favorites. So closing my eyes, taking a few deep breaths. I really like to disconnect for a few seconds and minutes from my technology. So when I take a break, I really try to leave my phone in the house and I just step outside with my dog, Kobe, and we're just playing a little bit and we're just moving around, right? We're moving our bodies, we are outside in nature, we're taking in some fresh air, and yeah, and that just feels really good. And sometimes we feel like we don't have the time to do that, or we feel like it takes too long. But what is it like? Even before I recorded this video actually today, I stepped outside for 5 minutes because I needed a break between the last workshop that I just facilitated for 40 people for a corporation and recording my videos. And so in order to really help my brain to switch tasks, I just go outside for 5 minutes and do something for myself. So it can be super, super simple. Another thing that I like to do is to drink water. Water is always really important. It's important because we are made of mostly water. Our brain is made of a lot of water. So if you are dehydrated, it's going to be really hard for your brain to focus. So if you're watching this video right now, I want you to take your bottle of water and have some sips of water, because it's super important and we are oftentimes not drinking enough throughout the day. In fact, let me get a sip of water as well. Okay, here, cheers. Okay, water is really important. What else? I think I actually made a video about different self-care tools, so I'm just going to link it here again, and you can find some more tips on what you can do in order to manage your energy levels and stress levels on a daily basis. And with that, I'm moving into question number 3. Question number 3 was a really interesting one, so I want to share this one with you next. And the question is, how do we pull ourselves out of heavy feelings during the workday? I think that's a really good question. I think we've all been there. You have probably experienced it before. It's sometimes not so easy to pull ourselves out of heavy feelings when we're having a hard day, no matter if it is related to work or related to our personal life. And so what I like to do when I feel heavy feelings is to practice, honestly, a lot of self-care. So I'm really trying to find little pockets in the day where I can take care of myself. Oftentimes, for me personally, because I'm a person that journals a lot, I love to sit down and just write out my feelings. It actually gives me anxiety when I'm in a meeting or when I'm doing some work and I can't really take a few moments to really just deal with the feelings that I have. So I really take my journal and I just start writing, and I write down all of the things that are on my mind in order to kind of almost help me empty those feelings. And that can sometimes be really helpful to just, to relax a little bit and feel better afterwards. Another thing that I would highly encourage you to do if you're experiencing heavy feelings is really asking yourself the question, can I continue to work today, or do I maybe need to take some time off? Sometimes we need that. Sometimes it's not really done in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Sometimes we need a little bit more time. Sometimes we need 2 hours or 3 hours. Sometimes we just need to, finish our workday early in order to take care of ourselves and do something that is really relaxing us. Go outside in nature, move your body, talk to a friend. All of these different things can really help you to manage heavy feelings during the workday. And if you need to get back to work, really just take a moment for yourself. And no matter what your self-care routine or practice is, do that, because you know best what's best for you, and just practice that. So no matter if it's journaling, doing a quick meditation, going outside in nature, calling a friend, maybe writing down a positive affirmation. Sometimes that's really helpful for me as well. All of these different things can really help you to get you out of these heavy feelings. All right, next question. I really like this question actually because it's a really long question, so let me read it to you first. How to be more consistent in being productive? How to set a sustainable daily schedule? To provide context, I find that my productivity is inconsistent. I can be very productive accomplishing work tasks, fitness goals and chores, even socializing with people for the first half of the week, but have less energy for the latter half. To make it worse, I can be hard on myself when this happens. It can be that I'm spreading myself too thin, not setting realistic tasks and timeframes, so I end up draining my time and energy. So great question. How can you sustain your energy throughout the week? I can totally relate to this, by the way, because I've totally been like this as well, where I just really push myself the first 2 or 3 days of the week, and then I'm feeling super drained and exhausted for the last 2 days of the week. And honestly, I actually like it in a way. And that's why now I'm actually managing my calendar accordingly. So I put a lot of things into Monday through Wednesday, and then I don't put a lot of things Thursday to Friday, because I like it and because I'm an entrepreneur and I can manage my time that way. If you're working for a company, or if you are preferring to spreading yourself out from Monday to Friday, then obviously you need to manage your energy better. And not feeling super energized on a Thursday, so towards the end of the week, is usually a pretty good sign that you have pushed yourself too hard at the beginning of the week. So it's good awareness. That person that sent me this question definitely has good awareness, and it is really helpful to just create that awareness and be like, okay, way too much stuff going on at the beginning of the week. I need to manage my energy levels a little bit better. So, no matter if that is by managing your calendar, right? I have so many videos on that. So make sure to check out this video here on time management and calendar management, because this is really the most important thing if you want to sustain your productivity over time. You need to start trying out something, right? Create a specific calendar management schedule for yourself. Try it out, experiment with it, and then see what works and what doesn't work. And from that information of what works and what doesn't work, will you find new ideas on what you can do, and you will see what works and what doesn't work. So it's really important that you are taking daily breaks. So oftentimes what I see when people have this kind of a tendency, right? They are really exerting their energy levels through the first 3 days of the week. They are not taking any breaks, and then they're completely depleted. So it's a really good sign from your body, hey, it was just way too much, and you need to bring in more of these relaxation phases in order for me to perform at that level more consistently. So calendar and time management, taking more regular breaks, and just really being mindful of also, because the person here mentioned social activities, of your social activities and of your fitness goals, right? The things that you're doing, is that really realistic for you? Or are you an introvert, or are you a person that needs a little bit more time for yourself in order to re-energize? So all of these different things, all of this information is really important in order to make a decision on how you can manage your time and energy. But that's really important, and I'm glad that you have that awareness and that you asked yourself this question. And it's actually a really good way to move over to the next and last question that I want to answer in this video today, which is, when trying to build new and healthy routines, what is the best way to avoid trying to add too much at once, and what would you consider to be too much to add change in a very short period of time? So great question as well. How long do we actually need in order to create new habits, and how often should you add more things to it, right? So if you are a peak performer like me, you're probably thinking always in terms of like the quickest possible way in order to be super performant. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work that way. It is a lot more helpful to focus on one thing at a time, and then once you have established a routine or a habit, to move over to the next thing. So how I like to think about this is to set one goal per month. It can be, if you want to, it can be one goal for your personal life. So maybe it's a fitness goal or a nutrition goal or a social goal, and one work goal. Or maybe just one in general, right? If you don't want to already spread yourself too thin in these two different directions. And then once you have that, really try to establish that routine for the month. And if you have been good about establishing that routine, then you can add the next thing the next month. I really like this process because I find it really helpful for myself to really not overwhelm myself with too many things, right? So, best example. Many of us like to do a regular workout routine, and we like to eat healthy and sleep a lot and drink a lot and all of these different things, right? And all of a sudden we have all of these little mini goals. But because it's so out of our usual routine or out of our usual habits, it's going to be really hard to do all of these 3 or 4 things at the same time. It's pushing us too hard. So we really need to take it one step at a time. Let me give you an example. In March, I set myself the goal to create a more consistent workout routine, and I got sick in the month of March, and I wasn't actually able to do it. So instead of creating a new goal for April, I just moved my goal from March to April, and I set again the goal of creating a regular workout routine, which worked super well in April. So that was great. I'm feeling super accomplished. And now in May, I added the next self-care tool and self-care goal, which is being a little bit more conscious about what I'm eating and just being healthier nutrition-wise. I haven't done very well yet this month, but again, even if I sometimes need a month just to sit with it mentally before I can actually start to take action, that's totally okay as well. And I can be super kind of relaxed about this now because I have had so many experiments and experiences with these kind of goals that I know I will be able to do it. I just need some time and some reflection sometimes. And so the cool thing is, if you think about it, every other month you really hit that next goal. You still have created 6 new habits throughout the year, which is super, super powerful. 6 new habits. Many people cannot really say that. So don't, have too high expectations of yourself, even though I know you do, and we all do. But really taking it one step at a time is really powerful, and I like to think about it as one goal per month. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. 5 tips on how you can manage your time and energy during the workday. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any more questions for me, feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I'm super happy to answer any of your questions. I already have more questions here. So I'm going to do a part 2 of this video next week, or maybe one of the following weeks, in order to answer more of your questions. And if I see some of the questions that you are submitting, that I will definitely get on them and put them on my list as well. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a nice day. See you soon in the next video.